Hello, hello. It's been a while since I last streamed. Probably about a month almost. But I've had some free time today. I don't usually have time to do stuff like this on Fridays, but my afternoon's pretty much free, and I felt like doing some work on here. So yeah, I'm just gonna do a bit of a stream today. I have been doing a good bit of stuff off camera, I guess you could say, since the last time I streamed. Not a tremendous amount of work like I was doing over the winter when there was really nothing else to do in my free time because the weather was cold and a lot of snow out, obviously. With it being the middle of summer, during my free time, I'm not necessarily spending a lot of it playing games. But the past week or two, I have spent an hour or two here and there in the evenings doing some work. So most of it actually has to do with what I built in, I think it was the last time I streamed, or the last two streams. I know it was at least the last two, where I added this new area to the chocolate room with this new corridor. And I added this door in, and it led into a new hallway that went off to the left and to the right, and it sloped down. And I was going to use that as an area to add in some new rooms. After I finished building that, I didn't really do much to the build for a week or two. And then I came back and I was doing stuff in other areas of the build, and then I would come back and look at the new area that I built every once in a while, that new hallway. And I just really didn't like how it was looking the more I actually saw it, you know? So basically what I decided to do was delete everything that I made. So I started over from scratch. So before, this was a corridor. It just immediately when you went through, you were in it. But I really switched it up drastically. And now this is a stairwell when you go through the door. So this is all the same. But this is completely different. None of this was here last time. Before, it just led into a open hallway that went, like I said, left and right. But I wanted to come up with a design that was a little bit more in the aesthetic of the rest of the build. The hallway that I built was really kind of... It fit, but something about it was just a little bit off. So what I did was I added a stairwell that descends down to a lower level. And this is basically the same design as the other stairwell that I have, like on the complete other side of the build. So going down here, obviously, you know, it takes a good bit longer when you're just walking, but I'm okay with that because it makes it feel like a large area. But it only goes down, it only spirals over itself one time. So it's really only dropping, I think, by like 15 or 20 blocks. There will be no rooms in here. All this is serving as a stairwell to get from the top to the bottom, or vice versa. There will be no other areas to go in here, because it leads into this door, which is the new corridor. And basically, I wanted it to be very large. I didn't like how small the hallway that I built was. It was too narrow. And like I said, I didn't like the aesthetic that it had. So I wanted to come up with a new design. And something that has always sort of bothered me about this build is when you first come in and you go through like the puppet show where it burns, you go into the really long hallway that gradually gets smaller. And I made a mistake of not allowing myself enough room in that area to build that hallway as long as it should. So the result of that is the hallway is actually a little bit smaller than it should be. So because we're basically underground right now, I have essentially unlimited amount of space. I wanted to take the concept of the shrinking hallway and change it up a little bit. So the design in here is very much not a direct copy, but a very similar look to the design in the movie. But the only thing is it doesn't shrink. It stays one consistent size, because I didn't think it really makes sense to have two shrinking hallways. I feel like that's like a one-off gag kind of thing. So if we go through here, you'll pretty much immediately see what I'm talking about. It's a very large hallway that goes down. I believe this is... It's either 300 or 400 blocks long. I can't remember. But I have my render distance set to 24 chunks right now, and it's just out of reach, you know, the hallway. So if I upped it a little bit, you'd be able to see the entire thing all in one shot. But I think this is such a huge improvement to the thing I built last time. I released that YouTube video last week, the one showing all the things I've changed, the update video, and that video showcased the old hallway. So if you're like wondering what I'm talking about, you can go to that video and see. It's a very bright white hallway. You'll know what it is as soon as you see it. But I basically just took a still frame from the movie of the hallway scene and just essentially copied it as best I could. Once again, just negating the shrinking aspect of it. And hold on, if you excuse me 1 second, I'll be right back. Alright, sorry about that. So yeah, this is how long, not maybe this entire length, but this is how long I wish the hallway that I made that you see in the movie was. It's nice and wide and it's very tall. It's a very, very simple design because, you know, it's sort of bland colors, you know, once again. It's funny whenever I'm like working on this, if my girlfriend is around, she always like jokes about like how is this even enjoyable to build all this stuff, because everything is either like gray, black, and like at best it's white. There's really not any color, but you know, that's how it looks in the movie, so that's how I'm building it. I decided to use cyan terracotta for the walls, and then, you know, the gray concrete for the floor. And then when I did up here, when I was looking at pictures from the movie, the arched ceiling is very shadowy up here. You know, it has the arches that are the same color as the wall, and then it has a space above it that's really completely engulfed in shadow. So what I did was I just decided to make the actual roof out of black concrete to make it look darker. Now, it probably doesn't really make sense that the roof would be black, but I just really like the effect it gives off. I like it more than just using like a, you know, gray concrete up here or another dark block. So I went with the black, and I'm pretty happy with it. So I guess I should talk about where it actually leads to. So the area that we came in through is from the chocolate room side. And then, you know, at the end of the hallway here, I did have to put in a 90-degree turn. That's just how it's sort of all set up. So there's the main long part, and then there's the, you know, shorter part. So we came in through here. So if you're coming this way, you immediately come in through the small section, and then you have to walk down the long area. So this is the elevator, and where this takes you is actually this area of the elevator ride. So these are all the nut rooms, actually. So that's basically what that long hallway connects you to. It connects you from the chocolate room over to the nut room area where the proper elevator, you know, starts. And I really wanted that to connect to this area simply so you had another way to get here that didn't require you to go through like the long chocolate river ride and then, you know, through the inventing room and all that to get here. So if you want, you can bypass all that and it just takes you right there. So this track, this minecart track, I added in. And basically, you know, we're inside of a giant black box right here, so it kind of just follows the edge of that. And then where this connects up to is right here. So this is the track that leads from the nut room. And I've always had two tracks right here because the plan was to always eventually add this in. It just took forever for me to actually do that. So this side is the actual track that takes you off to the right that goes to Fudge Mountain and all that. But if you wanted to, when you get on to the minecart in the nut room, you can get on this track, which when you drop down, it takes you off left, which takes you to that area we just were, which leads to that new hallway. So you can get to the hallway from both sides, either the chocolate room or the nut room. And then what I also did was I wanted to make sure that if you were coming from the chocolate room and then you got on the minecart track, it didn't just dead end right here. So you can get on the minecart track and then it just does a quick little loop right here and then it'll continue on to the Fudge Mountain area. So basically just providing different options on how to get around was the goal. This little ball design, like the way that you get to the corridor, the reason it's there is because, once again, this is just a black wall, so there needs to be some type of transition. And then that design is essentially just a copied version of these things that are in the movie that go between the nut rooms. Although I made this one over here a little bit larger. And I believe I made it out of white concrete instead of the light gray that was. So that's just kind of a neat little detour. And because this area is huge, obviously, I wanted to use that to have some rooms. So I have, in the long part of the hallway, there are 6 doors for 6 rooms. And then the little small area has 2 doors. So this hallway, even though it's huge, it only has 8 different rooms in it. But that's still quite a large amount of rooms. And I have started doing some work on some of these. So I've completed 2 of them, and I'm working on, and what I'll be working on the rest of the stream today is the third room out of the 8. So this area over here, you can't really see it right now, but on the other side it's very cramped with other areas of the factory. So I really only had a small area to work with for this room. And I wanted to have the spacing uniform the whole way down, so that's why the doors are in the spaces that they are. So that's why I wanted a door here. So I decided that the barbershop scene from the movie would be a perfect spot for this area, or a perfect room for this area, because it's a nice little small room. It's very basic. This is actually a surprisingly hard room to recreate in Minecraft. There's the big light that's in the roof, and then the pink and blue walls. The barber chair, there's a single shelf, and then there's this weird thing in the scene, I don't really know what it is, kind of like a hair dryer, I guess, and then just a barber pole with a sink, and then a Oompa Loompa who's a barber. So, you know, it kind of looks like crap, but there's really not a better way to do this, so it just kind of is what it is. So that's the small room over here. But the one that is much more significant that I did is pretty much all the way on the other end over here. It's in this door right here, and it is the fudge room. So this is one that's directly referenced in the movie. So I wanted to make sure I included it, even though we don't see it. But it's a pretty big room. It's a pretty unique shape as well. I don't have any other rooms that are this shape other than the chocolate room, but this is actually a little bit different because it's cut off in the middle. The chocolate room continues the curve down this way. So this is a very unique shape of the room. And I just wanted something a little bit different that wasn't just a sphere or a rectangle. So up here I have on both sides, I have 3 of these recessed lights, which I really like this design. This design is shown off in the movie quite a bit, so that's why I wanted to include that. And then I did something I think it's at least kind of clever, is, you know, in the movie it's referenced when Augustus Gloop gets sucked up. And he basically says that that pipe he got sucked up goes to the fudge room. So what I did was, this is an exact copy of the like pipe machine that like goes across and sucks up the chocolate. So essentially what I did was I just cut out a little hole that's the same size, so acting like this device comes in through the ceiling on the little track up there, and then it goes to the fudge room and empties the chocolate into the big, as he says, chocolate mixing barrel. So that's what this is, and it's just emptying the chocolate into the barrel. And then I kind of just added some other pipes, like for the other ingredients to make fudge, being like a milk or a cream, and then sugar. So the pipes come in. Basically, I mean, the way I think of it is I have another room further down in the factory that's just a giant room full of storage tanks for different ingredients. So that gets piped in here into the room's own storage tank, and then it goes up and over with some funky bends, and it empties the milk, and then it empties the sugar into the mixer, and then with the chocolate, obviously. And then it mixes it up, and then these little nozzles spray the fudge onto the little trays or whatever on the conveyor belt. They go underneath some fans that cool them down, harden them up, and then they get on this elevator lift that takes them up for no real reason other than I wanted to add something else in here. And then they continue on their way through a hole in the wall off to another area of the factory. So this is what I finished last night, and then up here this is just like a spiral staircase to walk up, and then this is where I guess they would poke for Augustus Gloop with the long stick inside of the barrel and get him out. So I like this room. I had a fun time making it. And, my favorite part is, once again, including this in here because, he referenced in the movie, Wonka did, that's where this pipe leads to. So, I very much enjoy that it just kind of comes through the wall from a different area of the factory, loads the chocolate in, then it goes back out to another area. This is also only the second room, other than the inventing room, that I had the door on the inside in the open position, just for a little bit of variety. And yeah, that is the fudge room, so pretty happy with how that turned out. Elevator is right in here. But what I'm working on today, and I did a little bit of work just so I had an idea of what I wanted to do. I'm starting the chocolate production area, or the Wonka bar production area that is in the opening credits of the movie. So like the whole scene where we see a Wonka bar being made from start to finish. So this is the first part of that. This is one of the machines that sprays the chocolate into the pans, and then it goes off down this way through the other various machines. So before I started streaming today, I wanted to just kind of make the design so I knew what I was doing, so I wasn't just fumbling around with it for like an hour on camera. So I came up with this design. I'm pretty happy with it. Now you'll notice that we're in a very giant open space right now. This whole area will be underground, just like this is over here. This is the new hallway that I just made. These things are the recessed areas for the lights on the inside. One other thing I wanted to mention is I really like how the lights show up on the wall. It's very much like the opening scene in the movie where there's the shadows, but the actual lights are just circles. So I really like that. But yeah, this will all be underground, and this will be too, but I removed the actual ground itself just so it's a lot easier for me to build in the daylight instead of it being like pitch black, like it is under here. So right now this is just temporarily removed. But once I'm done building the whole assembly line, I will cover it back up, And then I'll go add in some lights with these light blocks to make it look nice and moody and shadowy. So, like when this is all covered up, like the top portion of this, will be basically all in the shadows. You won't really see it. These are light fixtures, which I did put a light block in here, so it'll light it up going down this way. But yeah, so this is as close of a design to the movie that I was able to make just by looking at it. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. The brown concrete is just supposed to represent like the glass pipes that transport the chocolate. The way I make most of my glass pipes, normally I cover it in glass like this, but it would just look too clunky for this area. So it's just the actual brown blocks. Same thing up here. This is supposed to be like a storage tank, a glass storage tank, so you can actually see the chocolate on the inside. But I tried experimenting by like covering it with glass, and it just kind of didn't really look how I wanted it to, so I ended up just using the actual concrete itself to make the shape. And once this is all covered up and there's more shadows, you won't even really notice or can tell that this is just, there's actual no pipe around it. So yeah, what I need to do actually is, once again, because I use World Edit, I've talked about it a lot, it really saves time when you're making repetitive things. So I think I need to add in, I think there's 6 of these. There's 3 different assembly lines, and then each assembly line has 2. So instead of having to rebuild each one manually, I can just copy and paste it. But what I need to do real quick is, I forgot to do this before I started streaming, is on my laptop off to my side here, I want to pull up the movie so I can reference it as I'm building along here. So just give me 1 second. Okay, so I was wrong. There's actually 12 of these. Each conveyor segment has 4, 2 on each side. So something I need to do, because I'm trying to think of this whole assembly line in the movie and planning it out in my head so I don't run into like a problem later, is that basically the whole thing starts with this and it goes down the line. And then there's that machine that raises it high up into the air. And then they get on those little parachute things that brings them pretty far down. So this is basically the space I have to work with, is just the actual underground section, because I don't want to add another giant black box, if I can help it, on top. So what that means is, because it starts out and then it goes up and then it goes down, I basically need to start this area like pretty far down here, almost as low as I can make it. And I'm thinking, because the parachute area needs to go down pretty far, that if I started it over here and it came this way, I think this dome, the sphere, would probably get in the way. So I'm thinking of maybe reversing like the starting direction. I might have it start over here and then go down this way, and then the little thing will pick it up, and then over here where there's basically nothing, or even if I need to go on top of this, it can go down nice and far, and it'll give me a lot more space than running into this over here. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And then, kind of similar to how I did the nut room area, where it's just inside of like black walls so you can't really see the edge, that's what this is going to be inside, because in the movie that's basically the effect it has. It just looks like it's in a giant dark area, so I don't need to worry about building an actual room for it, like all of these things. So I can just kind of build the stuff, like the set pieces, if you will, and then cover it up with a black box later. So, with that said, I am going to start by copying this, and then I'm gonna paste it over there, and then I'll basically just put all 12 of them in. So this is kind of a weird shape, you know, to copy. So I really only need to go out that far, and then it looks like I think I got it right here to get the stairs. So this will be the low point. And then the nice thing is this is a perfectly like symmetrical device, so it doesn't matter how I rotate it or paste it in, I don't have to make any modifications to it no matter what direction it's going. Talked about it a few times before, but I'm a pretty slow builder in this game, so I don't really anticipate getting like a whole lot of the assembly line finished today, other than like this beginning portion with all of these things, just because it probably will end up taking a while. And I don't usually play Minecraft in super long sessions. I commend the people that make Minecraft, like the Minecraft YouTubers, where that's their full-time job. You know, obviously, like, jobs for most people can just be boring, like nobody wants to do them, but I would be miserable if I had to, you know, play Minecraft for, like, 12 plus hours a week. Or they probably do it a lot more than that. They probably play it for like 4 to 5 hours a day. I could never do that. That's for sure. Alright, so I think I'll do it just from the top. So we're in the center. That'll make it nice and easy. I'm trying to keep this stream sort of concise with not a lot of like, you know, just rambling on, trying to make it what I'm showing and doing actually interesting, because I haven't streamed for like close to a month and I've only released one video in that time, so the people who normally watch the streams when I was streaming much more regularly, and then the viewers from my videos, you know, haven't really, you know, the way YouTube works is if you're not putting out new stuff, as everyone knows, then, you know, like, your stuff isn't really watched. So I'm anticipating that this live stream will be probably acting more as a pseudo just regular YouTube video as opposed to oh shit, I just realized, well, actually no, that should be fine, as opposed to a real live stream. So I need to get this out of here, it's in the way. Up here, interestingly enough, this is actually a portion of the old hallway that I built on my last live stream. This area just kind of, I didn't really need to remove it, so this is what the old one looked like, and just one up that way. And the more I looked at it, the more I hated it, especially the roof, or the ceiling, I mean. So yeah, good riddance to this. I think the new one's much better. Okay, anyway, so as you can see here, I have the 3 doors that are on this side of the long corridor. And this production area, I'm anticipating, is going to take up just about this entire length, or pretty close to it. So these 3 doors, at least the minimum these 2, will both serve as doors to this room, if you want to call it a room. It'll just be to different areas of the assembly line. So it'll basically, instead of you walking into a room, you're just going to walk into a hallway into this large open area. Or not a hallway, a suspended and elevated walkway, like the Oompa Loompa walkways in the inventing room. That is basically what you'll be walking into. So like this area will allow you to walk around and see like the first half or the first third of the production line, and then that room, that door will allow you to see the second third of it, and then that will be the last third. So it's kind of cheaty having these all go to one room, even though it'll technically count as like 3 new rooms on like my elevator stop list, for example. But because this area is so huge, I'm okay with that. This will probably hands down be the largest room in the factory. So I'm okay with that. So each one of these doors will have its own little elevator fast travel spot. So yeah. And then another thing I should talk about real quick is the scale of this area. So everything I've built so far, I've tried to keep it in a reasonable scale that like if you were theoretically making this in Minecraft, like the blocks, like a chocolate bar would be like no bigger than the size of like a block, theoretically, or like an item frame with something inside of it. But it's just impossible to make these machines like look anything close to how they do in the movie if I made the machines that small to make a chocolate bar that tiny. So what's going to end up happening is instead of a chocolate bar being 1 block, they're going to be pretty big chocolate bars. Like they're probably going to be more something like this. So like a massive chocolate bar in terms of scale. But I think it'll be worth it because the walkways you walk on are going to be sort of high up overlooking everything, and you're not going to be able to get too close to the chocolate bars themselves. So the larger chocolate bar being viewed from further away will help solve the scale issue. So yeah, I wanted to mention that, but I kind of forgot to earlier. You can see here, this is really as far up as I can go. Like, this is literally the outer wall of the factory. And I still want to add stuff into the back here, so I can't really poke up out of the ground. So I'm pretty much going to go down almost as far as I can. Because once again, after it goes through a few more machines, it takes that little elevator thing that goes up pretty far. So I can't limit myself too much in terms of verticality here. But I also don't want to just build all the way over here, because this would be nice. Like, this whole area is open, but then we're really far away from the doors over there. So that's pretty much going to bring me to this area. So I'm going to put a block right here just so I reference, because once these all machines get added in, I will just add in a long or a very large black floor 1 block above here that will, cover everything. I think that's... Are these the same? This is level 6. This might be 7. I know, that's also 6. Okay. So I know for sure that as long as I don't go any further down than this blue block, I won't run into any of this stuff that's already built. So I'm pretty much gonna start. So I'm gonna reference my picture. There will be 3 production lines. I'm gonna start with the one to like the camera angle that I'm looking at, the furthest left. But when you're in the room, it's more so the one closest to here. So I don't know why I'm complicating that so much. I'm doing the one closest to the door first. So I'm just gonna basically, I can go further back this way, but that door is, so far back already, I don't think I really need to. So I'm just gonna eyeball one in right here. Oh, I guess that is going to go back a little bit. Okay. So that is, what was this again? This is Y level 6, so 7. I don't want the... I need to give myself a few blocks, so this is like 11 basically. And I need to give myself a few blocks so I can build the things underneath it still. But more importantly, I'm just trying to see how I like that positioning. So this part might be kind of boring to watch, but that's kind of the whole point of these streams. They're just kind of boring, come along as I slowly build things streams. So apologies if it's boring to watch, but it is what it is. So when you come out of here, I want this to be the level you're walking on. I don't want you to have to take a staircase up or down. So it'll be kind of cool if that's like how far down it is. I do like that. Another important thing is, so on the 3 conveyor belts, the ones on the 2 flanking belts on the sides, the devices are further back. So the ones in the center will actually be up a lot further. So I know this area looks huge, but this is going to get filled up really quick with different machinery. So I think I'm actually going to have to go back further that way. Even though I said I didn't think I was going to have to. I can only go back so far because, like, you know, the chocolate room is right here. So I'm going to grab this corner and then go down to here, and that will get rid of all of that. And it'll probably give me about 30, 40 more blocks to go further back, which will be helpful. Okay, that's probably more like 20. I'm also probably going to like shrink some of this down. There's parts of this opening credit scene where there's just very long segments of the candy bars just kind of going on a straight conveyor belt, not really doing anything. So I'm probably gonna like just trim that out if I'm running low on space. I can't remember how much further back this chocolate room goes. But that might be the end of it, actually. Let me break through here. Okay, I don't think I have any. Yeah, it doesn't go below ground at that point, so I can actually go underneath the chocolate room, which will be kind of cool, I think. This is the very top layer. Yeah. So the snow is the barrier. I can't go any higher than that. But I can, I'm pretty sure at least, dig this out. And you know, like, the waterfall is like right on the other side of this wall, so that's where we're at in terms of positioning ourselves with familiar landmarks. Okay, I'm gonna start with that and see how much that gives me. Oh, thank you for the, thanks for saying that. Yeah, I appreciate that. Try my best to make the build look cool. But yeah, thank you, Master Blocks. Alright. Did I just... Okay. For a second I thought I just completely cut into the room here. But I think everything's okay. I want to go inside of it real quick and just double check that I didn't mess anything up. Okay, no, we're good. So that should give me... I think that'll be enough room. I'm gonna get rid of this too real quick though. All right. Just for right now, I'm gonna get rid of the snow so I can see a little bit better. Yeah. Oh, whoops. That's fine. Okay. Alright, so now I'm gonna once again just paste this in. Alright, that's like perfect. But I think I can go down quite a bit more. Yeah. Alright, find the center. Whoops. Alright, so what I want it to be is, I want one block, no, I want 2 blocks of the chocolate flowing, okay, yeah, I went down too far, but I want 2 blocks of it flowing, and then the pan, this probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but so the pan level will be here, the conveyor belt will be underneath it, and then I want at least, like, I want 1 block of air in between the conveyor belt and then the floor. Just so it's not right up against the conveyor belt. Okay, so I need to... I realize I'm doing this in a very, like, nonsensical, slow way. I'm just, like, guessing, basically, right now. What I should have done is copy and pasted that from the bottom. Okay. Still need to go up. So what did I say? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks. Whoops. And that brings me to 5. I just need to raise this up by 2 more. Okay. That should be it. Whoops. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Stand on it. I need this to be at levels. Wait a minute. Did I mess that up? Whoops, I need to raise it by 1 more. I promise. This should be the last one. And then I won't have to do this again. I don't even... Okay, whatever. We'll be 1 block ahead of it for extra insurance. Fine. Okay. So I'm pretty happy with the spot of that. Get rid of that. We'll keep... I'm going to keep those there for now, just in case I need to recopy and paste it. Okay, so the way they're laid out in the movie, there's one on this side of it, and then there's like basically a square. There's like a quadrant of 4 of these. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the second one in over here. Now the spacing I did between these was, I believe, 15. $12? Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna make the gap like in between the 2 sets of them just a little bit bigger than that. So I need to basically make sure that I'm giving a gap of at least 12. More like 15 because of the way the copy and paste works. Alright, I'm gonna see how this turns out. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. I was like, I'm pretty sure I need to double that number, and I do. Alright, so they're perfectly basically touching. So I'm gonna increase that again by like another 15. Okay. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8. That's 14. I'm gonna make that 12, so they're yeah, I'm gonna lower that by 2. So yeah, you can see, like, these are very large. They look a lot bigger than they are. I mean, we went from all the way back there to we're basically already at the door. So this space is precious. Because on that end over there, I cannot go past that stone wall because I'd be cutting into the nut room. So this, I can go back further this way, I guess. But then this kind of becomes a problem, an obstacle. So we're kind of locked into just this area, so I think it'll be okay, though. Okay, so yeah, I think it'll be alright. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the second set for this conveyor belt. And I might need to dig this wall out a little bit more. That's certainly possible. But first, before I can determine how far out I want them to go, I need to basically figure out how, how wide I want the conveyor belt to be. So we're gonna do this again here. So I'm gonna actually replace this whenever this is done with the flowing chocolate, so it looks like it's flowing in and not just solid like it is up there. Okay, so the pans are oriented. This kind of bothers me. I never noticed this until now. The little nozzle that sprays into the chocolate pans, like, you know, say this is the pan right here. It's actually not centered. It's they're offset, so they like spray onto the side and then the opposite side on there. I guess if I want to stay true to the design in the movie, I need to do that, although I'd much prefer if this was just in the center here. But regardless, I guess we'll do that, so. I'm probably gonna make the pans, I mean, they're gonna be pretty big. There's just really no way around this. So, I will make the pans 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks wide, sure. Actually, there's a little bit of a gap over here. Thankfully, they are centered in this direction, just not this direction, so I need to make it a little bit longer over here. And they're pretty, like, long and skinny. What I would like to do is only make them 3 blocks wide, but then the chocolate bar would be tiny. So, that's not really gonna work. But I'm thinking it's gonna be like that. Massive freaking chocolate bar. What is this? Like 5 by 8? 5 by 7? But I think it'll look good. So, like, you know, once again, this will be replaced with the brown water. And then I'm not gonna worry about putting the lip on top. It just would look too clunky, because it wouldn't really look right either if I made this out of like walls. To make it look a little bit thinner, it kind of has to be blocks. So that's the size of the giant chocolate bar that we're gonna have. Okay. You know, I should actually be doing this on the center one, because that's where I copy these things in. Okay. But I'm actually really happy to have this included as a part of the factory, because, you know, we're actually finally, well, we're not literally making them, but our fake factory here is finally making fake chocolate bars after, I've been working on this map now for like exactly 10 months. It only took 10 months to get to this point, but hey. Okay, so I don't really need to build the conveyor belt underneath it, because it's just gonna be, basically, you know, just running underneath it like that to figure this out. but what I need to do is I needed to get this spacing correct so I know where to put in the second set of machines. You know, where did I think? Actually, hold on, let me think about this. It's gonna have to be kind of further. They're gonna have to be further apart than I want them to be, just because of how wide this thing is. It just isn't gonna translate super well into Minecraft, I don't think. So I guess I didn't really have to do that. What's the widest part here? It's like 1, 2, 6. Okay, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The middle point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm just gonna put this in. See what it looks like. So I basically have two options, because let me add this one in real quick so it makes a little bit more sense. Okay, so in the movie, basically the distance between these two sets of candy bars are much closer than this. Like, this candy bar should, like, they should really be about that close together. Like that. Like, this is the edge of that one. But just because of the way Minecraft scales with how big the blocks are, I'm just not going to be able to do that. So I can like, and actually this gap up here, these should be a little bit further apart, honestly. But because it's Minecraft, you know, nothing is perfect. I mean, we're building with blocks, for Christ's sake, I guess. So I need to just chill out about it being exactly accurate. I'm probably gonna move these together like by one more block, and then the chocolate bars are just gonna be even bigger. So, you know, and then the movie, these are just singles. Like, these chocolate bars are really just the size of a single chocolate bar, but I guess in our factory here, this is a giant chocolate bar that'll just get cut up into smaller ones later. But looking at it from further away, it definitely helps, but these chocolate bars are just going to be huge. I just don't like that gap being so big between them, because it's just a little bit too big. But I'm gonna move these a little bit closer together, so now this is probably like 4 blocks or 3 blocks. Okay, that's fine. I'm happy with that. I'm just gonna have to make it work. Okay, now I can put the other one in over here. I should have not deleted those blocks. Just gonna eyeball it. Okay, I think that's it. Is that right? Okay, cool. So this is the first set. So there's gonna be 3 of these. So these ones, there'll be more here and then more over there. It does look cool. Like, this definitely looks cool. I think, at least. I just have to get over this inaccuracy. Okay. So I'm not gonna worry about putting these chocolate bars in right now. I just needed that for my own reference. If you'll excuse me, I'll be right back. Alright. Okay. So now I get to have more fun with figuring out spacing, because alright, so what is this? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay. So I'm going to go over the same amount. So I actually need the gap here to be quite a bit larger. So I'll just do 1, 2. Okay, 14. I'll probably just go to try 28 for now. Because the gap between this set of devices and the set in the middle is larger than the gap in between the two over here. And then it's also, they're not all in a row with each other. The ones in the middle are pushed up a little bit. So I'm just gonna like make this up myself. It doesn't need to be exact. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll try 20 for now, so we'll put one in, see how that looks. If I wanted to be like crazy about it, I could probably line this up with like, I don't know, probably the middle one over there, like the center. So it's offset a little bit, but I think that would make it not obvious enough. Like this one's supposed to be pushed up more, so I'm pretty happy with that. I think I'm just gonna leave it as that arbitrary amount that I moved it up forward. Okay, so that's that. Alright, so now I can add in, you know, it would make this faster if I just copied all 4 of these and pasted them, but I don't feel like doing that right now. So I should really just write these numbers down somewhere. I always do this. I always like count out a block and then I forget how many it is. So I need to get this space between these two again. Okay, 49 should do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, whoops. Paste. So now the distance between those, like those ones and these ones, should be consistent. I just need I'm pretty sure this was 21. Yeah. Okay, so I just need to go over by... Did I count this block in that one? Okay. And put that one there. It's this one. Yeah. Okay, now we got those ones in. Cool. And now I just need to do the last pair, and I'm pretty sure I need to... Probably gonna need to delete some more of this wall, but we'll see when we get there. Alright, so... what did I make this one? Remember, this distance is 50, the distance between the two of these is 21. And then what did I make this again? Or is that one... Oh, I think I made it, I'm just gonna recount it. Alright, I made that 35. And then I think I did 20, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then, okay, so 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 20, 21. Okay. One, two. That should be it. Just double check. Yeah, it's definitely it. Then 7. Well, I can just... Oh, yeah, that would make more sense. I almost lined it up with that one, which would be incorrect. So this is 7, 8. All right. So now we got those ones in. Now I need to add the last set, and that might just be enough room. Okay, yeah, that's plenty of room. Alright, and there, that's the last one. So, just gonna ignore the blue wool for now, I'll remove that in a minute. But I think that looks pretty awesome. Pretty similar to the movie. How's it going, Ronaldo fan? Alright. Cool. So this takes up a huge space. I mean, this is probably, I don't know, close to 200 blocks, 150 blocks across. Yeah, probably like 200. Okay. So now what I can do is basically, I think, put in the conveyor belts. But I'm going to get rid of this blue wool. And then basically, like, the chocolate bars go on a little bit of a conveyor belt run. And then they get underneath that, it's like a press that presses down and actually forges the, like, shape, the design, I mean, of the Wonka bars into the chocolate. Or, no, I'm mistaken. After this, there's a little bit of a conveyor belt with the little fans, like the ceiling fans looking things that cool off the chocolate bars. And then they go into the press machine that stamps the design of the Wonka bars. And then from there, they get on that, like, elevator lift machine. Then they go on the parachutes. And then from the parachutes, they go under those, like, those really, like, funny things that wrap them up in the wrappers. I think it'll look pretty cool when it's done. I know this is... A few people have recreated what I'm doing here, like the opening credit production line. Wikimart probably has, like, the best looking one. I like his a lot. So yeah, but I think it'll be cool to have... I'm not sure if anyone else who has built the factory has, like, put it inside the factory itself. I think most people have made it like a separate build that's either not in the same world or it's, like, off to the side somewhere. So I'm looking forward to having it inside the factory. Alright, that should be all of them. Okay, and because in the movie we don't see anything further back this way, this wall will just be black. That'll be the end of the room on this side, so... Yeah. So I gotta make these chocolate bars significantly larger. Well, not too much larger, I don't think, but probably an extra block at least on each side. And actually what I can do is, because there's an extra gap in here, I can move it over one block. And that'll help close this gap actually a little bit more. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'll just add it on here. Just for the sake of completeness, I'll add this in here. But what I'm going to do to make it look kind of cool, so, like, this part that is the chocolate literally flowing into the mold, I'm going to have it as the colored water. And then as it cools down underneath the cooling fans, I'm going to replace it with this so it looks like it's actually hardened. So it goes from being, you know, hot melted chocolate to cold down solid chocolate. I know it would be like hardly noticeable, but I think it would just be a neat little detail. Okay, now we will do this one. So what even is this here? So this is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 7 by 9. Okay, the gap should still, if I really wanted to be accurate, it should be like probably this 3 blocks smaller. But I don't want to make these chocolate bars too huge, so we're just gonna live with that. Okay, now for the conveyor belt itself. What block do I want to use? It actually has in the movie, it's like a slatted metal design. It looks kind of like an escalator, like the steps on an escalator, how they're grooved. That's like how this looks. So I guess I could use probably like stairs if I wanted to, like this. That's kind of how it looks. It actually looks kind of neat. It might look a little bit better even than, what I was planning on doing is just using gray concrete like that. But I might do this instead. I think that looks more interesting. And it's more accurate. Okay, but what step do I want to use? Let's see. I need the one that best resembles like a light gray metal. Well, more like a dark gray. It's probably either going to be stone brick or andesite, but I don't really like the line here, so I'm probably going to use stone brick. I think that'll look pretty good actually. Okay, but let's see so stairs are kind of like an annoying thing with World Edit. I want to test something here. Well, I don't need that to be a stair. What are these called? Stone stairs. If I spawn these in, is that gonna do the right direction? Yeah, see, I hate it when it does this. You can't make it go into a line. Because unfortunately I need them to run this way. If they're running that way, it would be perfect, but I'm gonna have to put like all of these stairs in by hand. This is gonna kind of suck. I don't even know if that's gonna be. Is it worth all that pain and suffering of having to do like probably thousands of stairs? Probably. I'm probably gonna do it. What I am, however, going to do first is I'm gonna put a temporary bottom in here. so I can easily place the stairs without having to worry about them floating in the air. And then I'll put all the stairs in, and then I can just delete the floor from the bottom. I just need to put this in real quick just so I know how wide to make that. Eventually I'll need to add all of these in to every single one of those spouts as well. But I don't need to do that right now. Okay, so do that there. Okay. And then let's see. Actually, the conveyor belt hangs over by, like, we'll call it 1 block. Just so it's not right flat, like a flat face right there. So that's probably, honestly, what most of the rest of the stream is going to be, is me just finishing the conveyor belt. So I don't even really know if that's worth streaming, to be honest. Because I can't really move on to the next, like, machine until I get the conveyors put in. And I just want to triple check that I'm above this thing. Okay. But yeah, I can't really move on to the next part until I get this put in. So yeah, I apologize the rest of the stream if anyone is even still... Well, I know no one's watching it live. If anyone's watching it through a replay, there's probably not going to be a whole, like, that much else going on here, so... I might stream it for a little bit and then probably just close it off, close the stream. Let me think how I want to... You know, it's probably going to be easier if I just get rid of these. Because I need to have it, well, I guess I only need to have 1 row. It might save me a little bit of work not having to cover the whole bottom of these things. Especially, actually, you know what, I'm gonna delete this one, put the conveyor belt underneath, and then I want to build one of these with the water instead of the concrete, because I want to make sure it's not going to look really stupid with the stairs. Yeah, I like how this looks. I guess perhaps another way I could use is maybe fence or walls. But no, I don't want it to look like that. I'd have to have a gap in between, and that would look weird. So never mind on that. Should be good. Just for now, I need to get my bearings. because the unfortunate, like, so the coolest look would be to literally have it like this, where you can see the gap in between here. But if I put in the water, that's gonna look pretty dumb. It won't leak, but you can see how it's, like, you're gonna see the bottom of it. Because I don't want to, what I'm trying to say is I don't want to make this pan any thicker than one block, because if I add in up here on top, it just looks like silly how thick it is. And then if I add in like the bottom, if I go like that, then it kind of looks weird with the conveyor belt just like going into the pan. But I'm kind of banking on the fact that, like, once again, like, when you come into this area, you're gonna be on like an elevated walkway at roughly this height. So you're never really gonna be down on the conveyor belt, I guess. And you're never gonna, I guess, look at it from the bottom. I mean, I guess if someone downloads this world, they can go in creative mode and do whatever they want, but I'm not intending for people to do that, so I think I'm just gonna roll with having the chocolate, like, visible. But this is gonna look pretty cool right here. Like, this is how I'm gonna have all these little spouts look. In this area, so like when it's actually pouring in, it's just gonna be the liquid chocolate, and then once it leaves this area and it goes underneath the little fans that cool it down to solidify it, it'll be replaced with this. So it'll be a very subtle difference, but it will look different. So I think that looks pretty neat. Whoop. But I am, for now, I'm going to remove that. Because it'll be easier for me to put these in without these here, so. I'm actually really pleased with how this, I was like very much dreading for the longest time building this. Because I just wasn't really going to think I didn't really think it was going to translate too well to Minecraft, because like other people have made it. I just didn't really know if I was going to be able to make it look good with my own design. But I think it's turned out pretty well. It makes me excited to do the rest of it instead of dreading having to build it. So that's good. And then it'll be nice, once I get this section done with the stairs, I can just copy and paste it to those ones. So I only need to do this by hand like one time. Or, you know, really, if I want, I can be smarter about this. I can just do a small section and copy and paste it down here. That'll save myself probably like 25 minutes of work. The only thing that'll be kind of weird about this is these two sides won't be consistent, you know. So like this one will have the flat wall, and then this will be the step. There's just not really anything I can do about that. I think the overall effect is worth it though, because from the top down it looks exactly how it does in the movie, having the grooves in it. So I'm just going to copy and paste this. this is fine. Copy. Paste. If I really wanted to, I could just keep copying and pasting, which I might actually do after like I do this a few more times to make it go even faster. So now I'll select, I think it was this corner. Now I'll just grab a small section. Oh, I should have. Well, you know, it doesn't matter. There. All right. Okay, now I can pretty much just copy this entire thing. I'm gonna include the floor on the bottom as well. Now the center one, which should be this one. Copy that there. Move over to here. Let's see, how many blocks down is this? I think it's 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, yes. And then I have that flush with that, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. I only need to go down 4. And then it should be this one. Paste. Oh, I counted that from the wrong spot. I meant to count that from there. I was wondering how was that off. Okay. Now that should be 3. Okay. Just like this one, right? This one's also 3, yes. And it's... Oh, I need to move that up by 1. I mean, it really doesn't matter. The whole thing's going to continue off. But I'm going to... It's going to bug me if I don't have these all the same, so... Can I do the factory of 1971? I have in the past. Every once in a while I think about maybe redoing it. Like again. I just really enjoy working on the 2005 factory. I prefer it over the 71 factory just because there's a lot more room to add on additional stuff. But one of these days, I may go back and do the 71 factory, but it's not in the plans for the near future. I think did I mess this up too? I need to add in another one of these, don't I? Oh wait, no. Okay. I thought I was losing my mind. I was like, why isn't that the same? I can say for certain, I probably will not be doing the 2023 one. Just because it's kind of like, I'm just not a big fan of the design. I like the movie, but the factory, you know, it's like his starter factory. It's kind of like small, and I feel like it would be hard to translate into Minecraft because really that factory, all it is a square room with a bunch of pipes. And it's kind of hard to make the pipes look good in Minecraft, so it would probably end up looking kind of like just not that great. But I am looking forward to hopefully they make a... I'm hoping they make another Timothy Chalamet Wonka movie. And I'm hoping that it would include his, you know, like a more substantial factory. Because then I would absolutely make that one. Damn. I had this whole thing over one block too far. Now that should be good. Maybe. Okay, that's even. As well as that. Okay. Good. Now I'll add in this one. Okay, I think that's right. I need to excuse me, go up by one. But the rest of this is fine. Your factory is the best Wonka too. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. I've been trying my best, at least the best of my ability, to make it one of the better ones, so I appreciate the kind words. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is just extend this back to the wall so it's nice and flush. I think I need to stand here. I don't really care that it cuts into the earth right there, because I'm going to be replacing this whole wall and just cutting it off by spawning in a black concrete wall, so that'll just cut it off and you'll never know. All right. I think what I may do, I think I'm going to extend these out a little bit, just for now. So I mean, I really have no reason not to. What did I do wrong here? Oh, right, I need to, let's see, I need to recopy this from a different angle from this side. I'll just do it from here. You know what? No. I'm gonna scratch that. I'm gonna do this entire length here. This should be it. Because this whole conveyor belt needs to basically be really long anyway. I may as well just put the whole thing in and then I can trim it back if I need to. Yeah. I think it should go right over top of that, no problem. But what I am gonna do is, because this one's gonna be longer, I don't want these to keep being different lengths, so I'm gonna cut this one back. Like that. And there we go. That's pretty much the first part of this build done. Oh, I guess I can start adding in the little chocolate pans. And then that will probably be all I do for today. I'm going to put the chocolate in. And then that will be that, I think. Because the stream will probably have been on for a little over 2 hours at that point. And that's usually how long I try to make them. Okay. So I'm gonna need to do this just so I don't forget where the thing starts. You know, if I was smart, I do crap like this all the time. If I was smart, I would have added these in first before I copy and pasted all of them. But I am not smart sometimes, so I did not do that. You know, actually, I can do copy and paste it. It's gonna be a little bit longer than it should be. I can just do it where I'm standing right underneath here. There, that should be it. Perfect. going to do all of them that face that direction first, and then I'll go back and copy it for the other direction. I am going to have to go in and do all the water manually, though, for each one. But I kind of like doing that with the water. It's satisfying. Okay. I think the rotate tool in World Edit is kind of garbage, so I try to avoid using it, to be honest. So I'd rather just build a second one if it's something simple like this and then recopy it. Oh, I was like, why isn't this working? I realized I was copying it the whole time, and now I need to... that was very stupid of me. Bear with me. I was like, why isn't it spawning it in? I guess I'm just... I wasn't thinking. There. That's what happens when you're doing a repetitive task while thinking about something else unrelated. I guess I never really mentioned, I probably have in a past live stream or a video or something, I don't remember. But the reason I use so much of the light gray concrete around my factory is because I think that's like the closest block match to the like color of metal that's used in the movie Factory. You know, there's a lot of different parts around the factory, like a surprising amount that is made of metal. And Minecraft doesn't really have a good metal block. Like iron blocks, yeah, they look more like metal than this, but they have a repetitive texture, which I really don't like. So I think this is a pretty good match, especially whenever it's dimly lit. So when this is covered up and it's not so bright, it'll be a pretty, I think, spot-on look to like the metal machines that you see in the movie. So I use this like everywhere, so like a lot of the machines are made of this in my build, and also like all of the doors, the circle doors to basically all of the rooms are made of this block as well. Because the gray concrete's a little bit too dark, the white concrete, while good for some uses, is too light. It's too white, obviously. There are a few things I use it for, though. And then other blocks, like, sometimes I use, like, for, like, elevated walkways, I like using the polished andesite slabs. And then I use sometimes, like, the stairs, or, like, for, Here, I used stone because I wanted to use some stairs for a metal look. So yeah, the light gray concrete is probably, other than the deep slate bricks, probably like the most used block in the entire build. My stats on this world don't really like count because I use World Edit for so much stuff. It doesn't really count those blocks properly, so it's very incorrect, my statistics. The playtime is like the only one that's, you know, accurate. I have like, I think actually like probably today I officially passed 300 hours played on this map. So I mean, that's, I spent a lot of time on it. When I first started the map, obviously I was playing a lot more than I do now, because like, I've talked about it a few times, but I've probably built this thing like close to 10 times over my life. This is by far the only one I ever got this like far along though. Like all the other ones, I never even completed the rooms that you see in the movie. Like I got like as far as the inventing room, and then I would pretty much always give up. So I never got anywhere close to this far. But I do thoroughly enjoy building the exterior of the factory. That's like my favorite part to make. Because every time I build it, I try my best to make it like more accurate than the last time I made it. So I'm always like looking for, you know, like new tech. I don't want to say new techniques, but like I'm trying to look for like more concept art from the movie, more like behind the scenes pictures of the miniature model they used, new angles in the movie that people like forget about because they're shown for like half a second. So I really like doing the exterior, which is why I built this thing so many times. But yeah, I enjoy working on this build a lot. I'm gonna be honest, I forget the reason I mentioned that and brought that up. I know I was talking about playing time. Oh, because I was talking about the hours I was playing. So like 150 of those hours were put in like probably like 4 or 5 months. I started this map last September, so like almost exactly 10 months ago is when I started this. So like half of the playtime, I more than half of the playtime I put in the first 5 months, just because I like doing the exterior so much. I just, in all of my free time, I would like spend hours a day doing it. And now, since obviously it's been months and months since I've worked on the exterior of this thing, I don't enjoy building the rest of it as much. So I don't have the desire to want to spend like, sometimes like on the weekends I would spend like 7 hours on like a Saturday just playing this thing. So I don't have that level of dedication to it anymore, just because I've been working on it for so long and I don't enjoy the interior as much as the exterior. But I am slowly but surely plugging away, getting stuff done. You know, the past like 2 months really, I really haven't done that much significant work at all, except for the past like week. I kind of picked it back up again by like doing that whole hallway and doing the fudge room, the barber shop, and then starting this. Like, this is gonna be like a huge part of my like checklist complete whenever this thing gets finished, like this room. So yeah, it's just building the interior, it can get kind of repetitive because yeah, every room is different, but if you're staying to the principles the movie follows, you don't actually have that much room for creativity. So you end up like all these rooms I'm adding in, they end up all kind of like feeling the same when I'm building it, at least, even though the contents inside of it aren't the same. Mainly like the beginning part of starting a room, because I always start, usually, this is an exception, I pretty much always start by spawning in like the sphere that the room will be inside of, because that's like canon to the movie for how the room should be built. So I put that in, and then I figure out a way that I'm gonna light the room. I usually try to figure out like an overhead lighting system of some kind, but I try to change it up every once in a while. So I, figure that out. So those are the like steps that take the longest amount of time. It's not even the part like the decorating, it's just building the room physically. So I've done that probably like over 30 times at this point, so I was really burnt out for the past like 2 months. But I've got some motivation again, because I do want to, I would love to have the world download out for this thing. Like, Christmas time would be cool. Or at the latest, like, January, February of 2025 is like my unofficial deadline. But I don't really, like hold myself to that strictly, so. That's kind of my like current deadline I'm giving myself. Is at the latest February of 2025. Probably the earliest, like Christmas time of 2024. Because I feel kind of, I don't want to say I feel selfish, but I feel like this build almost kind of goes to waste only being accessible by me, because I'm the one building it, so when I build an area, I kind of leave it. I don't really go back to it that often, So once something's built, it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind for me, because I'm just moving on to the next thing that I want to build. Whereas someone that just downloads the map, like, they'll actually feel like they're exploring the factory because they're not the ones who built it. So I feel like everything I'm doing here is like, unless I actually release it to the public for people to enjoy, that it's like a waste, because I don't really just hop on Minecraft and like, oh, you know what, I feel like going and exploring the jelly beanstalks room today. I don't really do that, because I built the thing. I don't really go back and visit it afterwards. The only time I really do that is if someone's watching a stream and they ask me to go look at something. So I'm definitely like antsy and excited to get this thing finally finished. And this is a huge step in doing that, like a massive step. Would I be able to build the factory from the 2003 prequel movie? Yeah, I probably... As its own separate build and its own separate world, I probably never would. Because it's very small and kind of insignificant. I've been thinking about the idea, I never really talked about it, of making a room in this factory, like a giant sphere, like I don't know, like 5 times bigger than this yellow one right here. So it's just a massive space, and building the 2023 factory, like inside of it, so like it's a factory within a factory, is like a joke. But I don't know if I'm ever actually going to do it, just because there's so many other things I want to do. But if I ever did build it, that would probably be the only reason I would. Just because it's like small enough that it would be able to like fit inside of here as like a funny gag. I considered doing that for the 1971 factory as well, but I think that would just take up too much time, so... But yeah, thanks for the question. Okay, I'm quite pleased with how this all is looking. Like, this area is, like, honestly, I guess it's pretty much done from here backwards, so. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I think for, real quick, I'm gonna cover this up with snow so we can see how it looks, when, like how it'll actually look, like with the nice moody lighting. And then that'll probably be it for today. We'll probably have to go in and add some light blocks on the conveyor belt itself because it's probably going to look a little bit too dark. But let's see. Okay. Yeah, so like, I like that a lot more. I need to add in, looking at it now, I need to add in some lights on all of the devices down here just so you can see it a little bit better. But yeah, I think that looks really cool. But like I said, I think that's pretty much gonna do it for today. I really have no schedule of any kind when it comes to streaming, so I just kind of do it whenever I have the time and whenever I feel like it. The only thing I usually can say is it's pretty much always going to be in like the early afternoon, and it's almost never ever on the weekends. So it's usually like middle, end of the week, something like that in the afternoons. So I appreciate anyone who's watching live or anyone who's skipping along in the VOD, the replay afterwards to see what I was up to today. So, whoops, that was not what I wanted to do. Go back to full screen. But yeah, I might have some ideas for like maybe some more YouTube videos that I might try to make. But yeah, just check the channel every once in a while. See if I'm streaming, see if I posted a video. And that'll pretty much be it for today. So thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you the next time.